letting the breath come in, letting the breath leave you. Yeah, so lying down on, so hi Helen, hi Panna, I hope you're there, I can't see you, so that's fine. So lying down onto your back. And so some of you have already done a little bit of this, just settling with your hands on your belly. And some of you have already done a little bit of tilting your knees to the right and to the left. And I'd like you just to come back to that, or do it for the first time if you haven't already done that today. Anyway, do you want your blanket? And I was thinking, shall I pop these things, or do you want these ready in case you get cold? Yeah. Actually, they're fine there. I just thought you didn't want to stick somewhere else. But that's it. So let the knees tilt to the right and to the left. So do you want a blanket underneath you? This one. Tilting your knees to the right and left, then settle down in the center. You can either keep your knees bent, or you could lengthen your legs out on the floor, because we're going to do one of these movements for the upper body. So you're going to take your arms up to the ceiling, and you're going to interlink your fingers. So you're making a big circle, and then start to rock a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. So across the upper body, letting your head move with your arms. That's nice. And keeping it easy, trying to keep your circle circular. Good. So going from side to side with your arms, with your head, rocking across your upper field. So we're starting to massage a little bit into our upper back. That's nice. Whenever your arms get tired, you can release your arms, let them rest down on the floor beside you, and then let the breath lead you. It really is like Jenga, this pile. One log out from the top, the whole lot's collapsing. Okay, so let your arms rest if you haven't done that already. And then come back to, if your legs are long, bend your knees, stand your feet on the floor. Come back to letting your knees tilt a little bit to the right and to the left. And see how that movement feels. Just keep it easy, enjoyable. Maybe once more, twice more to each side. And then settle in the center. Do then is let one knee fold into your chest. Good. So hold chest. Have a breath to lengthen that leg. And once you've done that, you could give your leg a bit of a shake out. Yes, it's quite nice to hold around the back of your leg, interlinking your fingers. You could also do a bit of circling into your ankle. So it's really up to you. You sort of take your leg up and then just see, you know, how does that feel? What would I like to do? You can do a bit of pointing your toes, pointing your heel. Your knee can be quite bent, or you can really lengthen out the back of your knee. That's nice, good. And whenever you've had enough on that side, bring that leg down, hold the other knee into your chest. And again, just have a breath, a cycle of breath, perhaps with that knee folded in towards you. And then take towards the ceiling. So this is the second leg now going up towards the ceiling. So perhaps shaking the leg out. That's it. interlinking your fingers around the back of your thigh to support your leg. And then circling your ankle, pointing your toes, pointing your heel. Good. Just sort of seeing, you know, how does it feel to take our leg up? How does it feel to lengthen out through the back of the leg without pushing it too much? And then come back down. It might be nice for a moment just to lengthen both legs out on the floor. And give your legs a little bit of a roll. Maybe bounce your knees. And we're going to come back to another movement of the upper body. So it's up to you. You could keep your legs long, but if it's more comfy to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. And then we're going to start off. We're going to come back to making that circle we made with our arms. And we're going to do that a few times, side to side, and just see how it feels. And then if from here, you then want to move on into making the triangle. The shape so that we're in sort of reception. That's it. So if you, depending how it feels in your upper back, if you're feeling very tight, you might want to stay with the circle. It's slightly easier. Sarah, yeah, just see what works for you. And then if you like, you can then make your arms into the triangle and you can rock from side to side. That's nice across your upper back. And if you go into the triangle and you think, actually, that doesn't feel so great, come back to having your arms in the circle. Very nice. Wonderful. And then whenever you've had enough, let the arms come down to rest. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave. Come back to a little bit of tilting your knees to the right and to the left. So if your legs are long, of course, you'll need to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor at this point. So it's a little bit of tilting your knees to the right and to the left. Good. Once, twice more in each direction. And then pause in the center. And if you can remember which leg you took up to the ceiling first, you're going to fold that knee into your chest. It doesn't really matter. You just fold a knee into your chest. And then lengthen the other leg out on the floor. So just lie for a moment with this, in this position where one knee is folded into your chest and one leg is long. And you could start by paying attention to the long leg and perhaps rolling it a little bit on the floor. You could stretch the heel away from you. That's it. And then let the leg go. Good. And then you're going to see, how does it feel to take the other leg? So the knee that's folded into your chest, how does it feel to take that leg towards the ceiling? And again, you can interlink your fingers to support the leg. I'd like you to see, can you just let that leg rock a little bit from side to side? And it's fine if your knee is bent, yeah? And try to see if you find that's not so good for the lower back, you could always bend the knee more and make the knee back to your chest. And yeah, exactly, just rock a little bit like that. That's nice. Good. Very nice. And just a couple more times, let that raised leg rock to the right and to the left. And then again, you're going to lengthen both legs out on the floor. And just let your legs feel long. Give them a little bit of a roll. That's nice. Good. Good. And then the leg that was folded into your chest, keep that leg long on the ground and fold the other knee into your chest. And again, just have a couple of breaths here and think about that rolling of the long leg, stretching into your long leg heel. What can we do to help the long leg settle on the ground? So if you stretch into the heel, it's stretching and then releasing. And whenever you're ready, you can see how it feels to take the leg up towards the ceiling. This is the other leg. Good. That's it. So Tracy, you might just find you want to lengthen it out. And then when you come on to do the rocking of that raised leg from side to side, if it's better for you to bend the knee more and come to that. That's it. So you've lengthened your leg towards the ceiling and you're rocking that leg from side to side. You there, Sarah? You rate your. It's all right. You don't have to. I'm just. Yeah, it's good to be stripped a bit, but then yeah, if you do want to take your leg up towards the ceiling and rock it from side to side, this is your chance. And I was quite surprised when I was doing this movement yesterday that I thought actually the more I did it, the more I enjoyed it. So, you know, obviously if you're not enjoying it, fold your knee in towards your chest. I think it's fun. I mean, it's a really interesting point, yeah, to notice, because it could just be that the raised leg is rocking on it and nothing else is rocking, but it could be that your body, the rest of your body is rocking a bit. And I think both are fine. And probably the most important thing is to find a movement that's enjoyable. So yeah, so lengthen both legs out again on the floor. I mean, this is what I was finding when I was doing it yesterday. I just thought actually it's nice to find something that just feels good. We're going to do one more little rocky movement on our back. So this will be bending both knees and crossing your arms over your chest like you're giving yourself a hug. So Hilary, have one arm completely on top. So take your back hand towards your armpit to the outside. I know it gets very confusing, this one. Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay. So start to let your knees and your elbows and your head. So Sarah, I think you did this last week with your hands in that circle. Start to let your knees and your head and your elbows all rock to the right and then all rock to the left. So, yeah, so make sure your head is coming along good. Yeah, so I think you did that last week, didn't you, Sarah? Rather than crossing your arms over your chest. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? So you're doing this one where you're rocking from side to side across the back of your body. And it can be a small movement. That looks really nice, Tracy, actually. It can be a small movement or a larger movement. And Donna, let your knees go as well. That's it. And in a moment, we're going to rock all the way onto one side. And I suggest you come to the side that you can see me, because we're going to do Anantasana, the side balance. So I think if everyone here rolls this way, Sarah, you know what you're doing, so you rock it onto either side. So you're going to rock onto your side. So Anantasana is the one where we come onto our side and we're lengthening out on our side. So we've got the bottom arm can either be, I tend to bend that elbow and prop my head up in my hand, or you can keep that bottom arm long and rest your head on the arm, or you can bend the elbow and make a little pillow out of your arm. And then you maybe have your hands on the floor in front of you, and you're going to be just rocking a bit on your side. So sort of that's it, rock your weight forwards and back a little bit. And we're just seeing about how can we settle down on the side of our body. So from rocking forwards and back. And the other thing you can do is just look down the length of your body, and you want to be able to see your toes, but not your ankles. And then let's settle on our side. And then from here, we'll come into tree pose with the top leg, and we'll see how that feels. And it's quite good at this point, because you might want to catch your ankle with your top hand, so that hand has to come off the floor. Oh, yes, it's a good time to take your sock off. So impressive. Good. So we can have a couple of breaths with our top leg in tree pose. And then from here, we can move on to bring that top knee towards our armpit on the top side of our body. And this is the point, if you're feeling really wobbly, you're going to bend your bottom knee and slide it forwards on the ground, and then you'll feel more steady. And then from here, we lengthen our top leg towards the ceiling, and you just see, is there somewhere you can catch your leg? So it could be sort of around the back of the knee, the thigh, it could be catching your trouser leg, or some of you, it would be your big toe. And yeah, if you're like me, if you take your leg up and it feels a bit, your hip starts to go a bit spasmy, just bend the leg back down and then try taking it up again. And go, ease in and out of that. And it may be that you can ease off that spasmy feeling, or it might be that just, it's not going to work for you today. And then from here, we'll make our way back down. So your knee coming towards your armpit, coming back through tree pose, coming back to lengthening your top leg out, and then have your top arm along the top side of your body. And it probably feels quite easy now to balance here. And then from your side, you're going to roll onto your belly. We just have a little mini breather on our belly before we do the other side. So you can Rest one hand on top of the other and your forehead on the back of your hands. You can give your pelvis a little wiggle, a bit of side to side wiggling of your pelvis. Good. And maybe just a couple of quiet breaths there, and then you'll make your way onto side 2 of Anantasana when you're ready. Good. Good. So lengthening yourself out on your second side. So again, think about maybe first of all, what are you going to do with your bottom arm? Sarah, are you okay? Is this the bad shoulder underneath?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you maybe have a cushion under the side of your head, possibly, and just see if that makes it better. Is that better? Yeah, okay, so settle there. Okay, so lengthening your legs out, have your top hand on the floor in front of you. That's it, good. Maybe a little bit of rocking forwards and back on the side of your body. Maybe a little bit of looking down your body towards your feet. So sorry, your feet can probably come back. That's it, that's very art. So you moved your feet back and then you moved your bottom back at the same time. That's nice, okay, well done. Good, Hilary, you could stretch into your heels a bit more. That's it. That's very nice, Sally. And then come to, and Sally, you look like possibly your heels could come back a little bit on the floor. A bit hard to tell from this angle. And then settle on your side. And when you're ready, move that top leg into tree pose. Good. And settle your ankle, your foot on your thigh. And have a breath or two there. Catching your foot's always good because it means you've got to take that top hand off the floor. And then from tree pose, we'll fold that knee in towards our armpit on the top side of the body. And again, just, seeing how that feels. You can bend your bottom knee, slide it forwards if you're feeling wobbly. And then how does it feel to lengthen that top leg up towards the ceiling? Catching somewhere onto the leg or the foot or the trail of the leg. And again, if you find that leg feels, you feel a bit spasmy in the hip, bend the knee, come back down, see if bending and then lengthening the leg means you can come to a place where you can stay there for a breath or two. If you're staying there, you can exhale and sort of stretch into your heels. Good. And then slowly make your way down. So the same thing, knee back to the armpit, back through tree pose, back through 2 long legs, with your arm along the top side of your body, and then back to rolling onto your belly. Just for a few breaths. Also, you're actually getting hot there. What's happened? You're getting too hot.
No.
I think he might be getting too hot.
You're getting too
panting, aren't you? Yeah. Come here. Slide him over here. Right, lie down there. Okay, and from your belly, when you've maybe given your pelvis a little bit of a wiggle, and that's it. Add a breath or two. You're going to be folding into child pose. So if you prefer being on your belly, you can have a couple more breaths there. If you prefer child, I know some of you do, come on into child pose. Good. That's it. So when you're ready from your belly, making your way on into child pose. Good. And having a couple of quiet breaths in child. And then from child, we're going to be coming on to hands and knees. We're going to do some hands and knees things. There's no rush. So, so we're going to come on to hands and knees. We're going to do some cat movements. And just sort of, yeah, see how they feel. And then we're going to be working in a little sequence with some of our tail wagging movements. You're getting a bit hot over there, Tracy. Good. So a little bit of rounding your back, dipping your spine. I'm just going to get a bit of air in here, but if it gets too drafty, let me know. Okay, that's very nice. The cat pose, rounding your back, dipping your spine down. She's got a bit too hot, haven't you, Otto? And also what you're going to do, sorry boy, what you're going to also do is settle in the center and do a little bit of tail wagging. And see how that feels. So how does it feel to imagine you have a tail and to wag your tail from side to side? And then we're going to do our tail, we're going to sort of move forwards and back with our tail wagging. You might want to, well, I think possibly just start by wagging your tail back into child pose. And keep your elbows off the floor and just slide your hands a little bit further forward. So then you can start to wag your tail forwards towards a very sort of easy, tentative face-up dog. And you do that a few times. So just moving between child pose and the sort of beginnings of face-up dog by wagging your tail from side to side. Good. So forwards and back with that side to side. That's very nice. That side, yeah, forwards and back with that side to side movement of the pelvis. And then the next time you come back into child pose, stay back. And slide your hands in towards you so you come into kneeling. And then you've got a little bit of a choice here. You're either going to, we're going to be going back. So you're either sitting on your heels and kneeling, or if you're someone who prefers it, sitting down in between your heels in Virasana. I don't know if anyone prefers this. So yeah, so just a little bit of going back. So the whole day yesterday, so I sort of fire on a lot yesterday, sort of lying in front of the fire, getting too hot, but having to move onto his bed, and then Casper the cat would come and lie in front of the fire. And yeah, you know, never very sensible dogs with things like that. Just get too hot. Right now. Good. So yeah, just a little bit of sort of stretching out through here, through the fronts of the thighs. And then what we're going to do is come back to those tail wagging movements. Actually, what you might want to do first of all is come back onto hands and knees and just stretch each leg out behind you, because that's probably going to feel good after the kneeling or the Virasana. Yeah, do you want to get rid of that for the moment, Henry? No, you can keep it there, keep it there in the center. So come back, so you're on this sort of hands and knees position, but it's a long hands and knees. And then come back to this movement of your pelvis back towards child, and then you're wiggling your pelvis forward towards up dog. And come back to doing this a few more times, and then we're going to visit that Virasana or kneeling sort of backwards movement again. Just, yeah, 3 more times just coming, and you don't have to go all the way into face up dog, but seeing how it feels. And again, once you've done this perhaps 3 times, and Sarah, for you, it's probably there's more going forwards than going back. Actually, doing pretty well going back. Once you've done this perhaps 3 times, then folding back into child pose and staying there. And then again, making your way into kneeling and going back, or into Virasana and going back. So Virasana is where you sit down between your heels. So it sort of stopped raining now, Sarah. Yeah. You always know with that roof when it's raining. So again, if you're going back, you're either sitting between your heels, and then you're just saying, how does it feel to try to let your pelvis, Hilary, you want to really try and let your pelvis sort of scoop under. So we're feeling this lengthening might not feel that much. Yeah, just this stretch through the front of the thighs. And then one last time, we'll come into a bit of those movements, those tail wagging movements, back to child pose and forwards towards face up dog. Good. And again, you just go as far into face up dog as you like. If it's something you enjoy, very nice. I know some of you do. Beautiful, that's lovely. Yeah, very nice, Sheila. Yes, very nice, Sheila, that sort of side to side movement of the pelvis in face up dog. It's lovely. Good. And this time, yes, very nice. This time when you feel that there's no rush, but yeah, well done, Tracy. Good. Yes, when you feel that you've done enough face up dog, lovely, Sarah, shoulders really down and wide. When you've done enough face up dog, this time you're going to fold into child pose and stay in child pose and make it a sort of relaxed, easy child pose. Good. So in child pose, I want you to just really think about your shoulders and your neck. So coming back to you, some of you at the beginning of class, we had this focus on neck and shoulders. And so in child pose now, you're going to have this particular focus where as you exhale, you're going to imagine that the out breath is leaving from the base of your neck, traveling through your shoulders, across the back of your shoulders, down through the arms and out through your hands. So we just have this sense that when we exhale, we're letting the shoulders soften and release. So you could just have that thought, or if it's helpful to have this, I suppose, this visualization, this sort of imagining that the breath leads through the base of the neck, through the shoulders, down the arms. So just a couple more breaths in child pose where we have this focus on shoulders softening, releasing with the out breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to be coming into dog pose. And we're going to try and take that notion of shoulders softening with the out breath into our dog. We're going to do a dog pose and then take it into a forward bend and up into standing. So on the hands and knees, tucking your toes under, exhaling, rocking your hips up and back into dog. And obviously there's going to be, when we first come into dog, maybe what we notice is the backs of the legs, tightness there. That's it. And then can we settle in dog and just notice what's going on in the shoulders? So in your dog pose, can you, that's it, settle, have a couple of breaths, your knees could be very, very bent. And could you make that connection with your breathing and think about the shoulders and the neck softening and releasing in dog pose. And from your dog, you're going to start to walk your hands in towards your feet. And you're going to end up in a forward bend. Hilary might need to come forwards a little bit and I'll remove the blanket in a moment. Yeah, so in a forward bend, letting, either bending your knees, Tracy, resting your elbows on your thighs, or releasing your arms to the ground. And wherever you are in your forward bend, let your head go. And then from your forward bend, sinking into your heels and rolling up into standing. Good. So we need a bit more air. Yes, yes. Sarah, are you okay? If I can put more air in here, you're by the fire, but you are going to get a bit more air. I think it's when you come up, isn't it? You suddenly get the feeling of the heat rising. So what we're going to do is settle down in standing to start with. So perhaps have a little look at your feet a little distance apart. Give your arms a shake out. So I want us to bring our attention back to our shoulders, and how are the shoulders feeling now we're in standing? Maybe close your eyes and just do a little bit of swaying from side to side. And just have your attention in your shoulders, maybe in the back of your neck, just how this part of your body is feeling. And as we do a little bit of swaying from side to side, can we let the shoulders drop as much as possible? Can we let the arms hang? We let our shoulders soften and release. We'll come back to this a bit more in a moment, but we're going to then do our sort of loose, easy swinging twist. So Tracy, I don't know whether you want to come forward from your mat into that sort of space at the end, maybe. I'm thinking, can you swing your arms without hitting the radiator? Good. So swinging your arms, yeah, good idea, Sarah, to make the most. Good. So swinging your arms, you can let your arms slap onto your body if you like. And again, just seeing, how does this feel in the shoulders? How does it feel through the back of the neck? Very nice. Good. A few more times, swinging the arms, slapping the hands, if you like, onto your body. Good. Is that a bit better air-wise? Yeah. Yeah, okay, good. Good. Yeah, I think that's the fire. It's like it gets a bit too much, like it's also get overheated. Well, it also just takes off that sort of gloominess, doesn't it, I think. So we're going to now, I've got a bit of a sequence we're going to do. We're going to do it 2 times. So at the back of your mat, yeah, so come towards the back of your mat. And the first thing you're going to do is a bit of reaching up through one arm and then the other. So sort of reaching up. And Sarah, obviously, whatever works for you. A bit of reaching up through one arm and then the other. Yes, Sheila, whatever your roof allows you to do. Reaching up. And then from here, we'll go down into a forward bend. And when we end up in that forward bend, you're going to then sweep your arms from side to side around your feet. So we're thinking about quite a lot of movement in this sequence. Just can we be sort of nice and fluid in our bodies, letting our heads go. And then from this forward bend, you're going to be walking your hands forwards into dog pose again. Just sort of see, when do you get to a nice distance for dog? And again, can we have that feeling of softening in the shoulders? And then in your dog pose, if you like, you're going to do your one-legged dog poses. So you're going to take one foot off the floor, and then perhaps roll your pelvis away from the leg that remains on the floor. That's it. And just, you know, a couple of breaths on each side. You can certainly take your foot onto the door, Hilary. Yeah, so just even if you think, oh, it doesn't sound very appealing, just very briefly perhaps try taking one foot off the front of the floor. It doesn't be very far. Good. And when you've done this on both sides, come back to dog pose with 2 feet on the ground, and then walking your hands back in towards your feet. So come back into a forward bend. Well, you ended up in a very long dog pose there somehow, Tracy, didn't you? I'm not sure what happened there. That's it, Sarah, just adapting as suits you. So yes, so in your forward bend, you can touch the backs of your hands together, and you're just going to roll up into standing, and Tracy will walk your hands up your thighs. And as you arrive in standing, take your arms back up towards the ceiling. So come back to this reaching up into one arm, up into the other. Good. Good. And then we're going to do just that whole little sequence again. So from reaching into our arms, we're going to exhale, sweep down into a forward bend. And then that side to side sweeping of the arms, if that's okay for you. And Tracy, just, yeah, whatever works for you down there. That's nice, Sarah. Really let the heads go. Yes, lovely. Very nice. And then from here, again, pausing in the center, walking your hands forward towards dog pose. having a few breaths in dog. You've got the option, and it's definitely an option, of doing your one leg dogs again. So you don't have to do that. Yeah, very nice, Tracy. Yes, it's really good if your foot, Tracy, if your feet do touch the wall, because that just maybe helps you take your weight back out of your shoulders a bit. Good. So obviously, if you're doing your one leg dog pose, do it on each side, just briefly for a breath or two. That's lovely. If your foot encounters the wall as you go back, then make use of that. And then back into a normal dog pose for a breath or two. And then back into your forward bend. Good. That's it. And then just releasing in your forward bend. And again, we'll roll up into standing, touching the backs of the hands together, trailing the hands up the front of the body, straight up to the ceiling. And then just perhaps now you could let your arms come with us in a big circle, just come back down. Good. And you can give your legs a little shake out and perhaps come more towards the middle of your mat. And what we're going to do here is just come back to, which some of you did at the beginning of the class, just come back to giving your neck and your shoulders a little bit of a massage. So bring your fingers up. You might like to close your eyes and just, it doesn't have to be that you're sort of digging around, but you're just perhaps pressing into the muscles of your neck, either side of your spine, maybe up into the base of your skull, and also just the shoulders. So just feeling, you know, how do these muscles feel under my hands, as well as just your perception of how does this part of your body feel. And if things do feel a bit tight there, just, you know, giving yourself a little bit of massage, easing into those muscles. Then you can release your arms, give them a little shake out maybe. Good. And we're going to come to a standing balance here. So we're going to start to reach up through the right arm. And we're going to start to shift our weight onto our right leg. Come onto the ball of the left foot. So from here, we're going to be catching the top of the left foot or the trouser leg. And just coming to this place where we're letting our knee drop down towards the floor. Good. And then the raised arm hand can come onto your breastbone. Just see if you can settle here. And it's fine. If you have a sort of wobble and come out, just refine the balance. Settle down. You might like to bring your hand onto your belly just to remind your belly to sort of soften back and empty, particularly as the knee drops down towards the floor. Good. Another breath or two. Have a little shake out. Has anyone not got water here who would like water, especially given the heat? Okay, is it just you, Tracy? Donna, would you like some water as well? Sorry, you okay for water? So I'm just going to say what you're going to do. You would just fill up with water as well. So you could, have a little drink of water. I'm just going to sort out water. Maybe just settle and standing for a moment. Sorry, sir. I'm feeling really dehydrated. So I think maybe I should have to start the water jug again. No, it's fine. I only just stopped putting the water jug out because nobody seemed to want to use it. Okay, so let's do the other side. Let's settle those feet down a little distance apart. And I might just shut the fire down, and then that would hopefully cool things down a bit. And start to reach up to your left arm. Let the right arm just be nice and loose and floppy. Start to shift your weight into your left leg. Come up onto the ball of the right foot. So we're coming onto the second side of this balance, catching the top of the foot we just stood on, letting the knee drop down towards the floor. And then our hand come down onto our breastbone. We can just see, can we settle here? Can we continue to let our knee drop to the floor? And you might want to bring your hand onto your belly, because there's, this is the balance here. We want to keep the lower back feeling long and comfortable. So there's only compromise. Good. See if you can have another couple of breaths there. Well done. Very, very good balancing on side 2. Come down and have a little shake out. We're going to come into a little forward bend sequence. You need to be in the middle of your mat, facing the long edge of your mat, because we're going to go forwards with our feet a little distance apart, and then we're going to walk them a bit wider and a bit wider still. I'm just thinking, Tracy, why don't you take your mat this way a bit so that you can go forwards without your head being right by Donna's bottom? So I know good friends, but I think going a little bit too, yes, a little bit too far. So let's go forward. Okay, good. Facing the long edge of your mat with your feet a little distance apart. Let's go forward into a normal forward bend here. Have a couple of breaths and just see how that feels. And then whenever you like, you can then walk your feet a little bit wider apart. So think about maybe coming to that a sort of a distance where your feet are as wide as the narrow edge of your mat, and see how that feels. Good. So you've walked your feet a little bit wider apart. And then you could see, okay, what's it like if I walk my feet a bit wider still? So there's obviously going to be a limit, and sometimes we sort of pass that limit. So if we've walked our feet a bit wider, we might think, okay, you might want to do a little bit of shifting your weight, bending one knee, bending the other knee. You might want to try taking your feet a little bit wider. You might think, okay, I've gone too wide. So this is not about going as wide as you possibly can. It's about coming to a place where it feels helpful, enjoyable. And if you do go a little bit from side to side, that's one thing you can do, bending one knee, bending the other. You could do a bit of walking your hands. So not bending your knees and walking your hands towards one foot and then the other. So that's something else you could do there. Oh, that's okay. Yes, that's a very good idea, Tracy, if you want to go down through a squat. So if you're in your wide forward bend, it might be nice just to have a couple of breaths in the forward bend. So sinking into your heels, folding forwards without sort of going side to side. If, like Tracy, you want to walk your feet back so they're closer together and then drop down into a squat, you could do, yes. You don't need your feet closer than that. That's another option. Good. And then from here, we'll make our way back up into standing. So if you're in a squat, send your heels down and your sit bones up. If you're still in a wide forward bend, sink into your heels, come back to standing, and then just walk your feet back in towards each other. Yeah, and have a little shake out. So we're going to do one more thing in standing, which is revisiting the balance we did last week. And I just thought it's good to come back to these things. So we're coming back to this place where we stepped one foot forward. It doesn't matter whether you were here last week or not. If you were here last week, then maybe when we come back to something, it feels slightly easier. So we've stepped one foot forwards. We're rocking our weight forwards and back. We're just seeing, can we drop down into our feet? Can we let our shoulders and arms soften? And can we feel the footprints on the ground? And then eventually we're going to settle down. And at this point, if you look down at your feet, they're probably more or less facing forwards. But what we're going to do is we're going to start to turn. towards our back leg. Let our pelvis turn. And it might be that if you're doing this, because we're going to stay turned towards the back leg, you want to let your back foot turn out a bit more. Yeah? So turning towards the back leg, let the pelvis turn out more. It might be, because we're going to stay here, so we've got our pelvis sort of turned to the side. It might be at this point you want to step your front foot a little bit further forward, because we're going to be coming to here, bending the front knee, bringing our arms out to shoulder height, and just trying to feel really wide and spacious through the whole of our body. And then we're going to be shifting our weight onto our front foot, coming into our half moon pose. But I think about you're trying to feel that you're a full moon here. And as you come into this balance, you're just trying to stay as wide and spacious. So you're trying to stay like a full moon. And it might feel quite wobbly, particularly Helen, I'm not sure we've done this one on a Monday. So yeah, so your starting point is here, your arms at shoulder height, the front knees bent. And it's almost like we're sort of going into the first part of doing a cartwheel, but we're not going all the way. And try it a couple of times. So shifting your weight into your front foot, keeping your arms wide, tipping forward, possibly your bottom arm fingers come onto the floor. Yeah. Good. That's it. And very, very nice. Yes, so Tracy, do if you want to use the radiator behind you to lean back on, you can do. That's on a very nice. Good, lovely. Lovely. So just try that a couple of times. Yeah, well done, well done. Good. Yes, see, that's good, Sarah. Just having that sort of reference of the wall by your arm is probably really helpful. Very nice, Hilary. Let's have a little shake out and let's try the other side. So we can just do all that sort of building up to it, which is as important as the pose. So step the other foot forward. Just come back to rocking your weight forwards and back. And just trying to settle ourselves down, because I often think when I do these big balances, we have this a certain amount of anticipation and anxiety. So we just want to try and calm all of that. So settle both feet down. Both feet are probably facing forwards. But what we're going to start to do is turn towards the back leg. And then you maybe want to let your back foot turn out. So this is just really thinking about what's comfortable for the knee. If we're turning our pelvis to the side, is it more comfortable for the knee for that foot to turn out? That's it. And it might be that you then want to step your front foot forwards a little bit. It's really up to you. The front knee bends. We bring our arms out at shoulder height. So we've just got this really expansive feeling here. And then we just start to shift our weight into our front foot. And can we keep our arms wide? Can we start to tip forwards into our half moon pose? Wide across the arms, reaching into the heel behind us. You might just try it a couple of times. That's it. So we can come back, have that starting point of arms being really wide. So we're like this big sail, or I think this sort of big silvery moon as we tip forward. Bottom arm releasing to the ground, top arm reaching up to the ceiling. Well done. Very nice. Yes, lovely. Yes, we have that sort of moment, don't we? Good. Okay, do have a little shake out. You actually now get to have a bit of a chance to have a lie down, because we're going to come to a little bit of rolling up towards shoulder stand, or doing shoulder stand in the room. So if you want to roll up, you can put your feet onto the sofa. Sarah, what do you want to do? Do you want to? Okay. Yeah, so I would suggest fold one mat in half. And yeah, we've been checking in with our neck and shoulders today. So if your neck and shoulders were feeling a bit tight, I would say, not necessarily do it at the wall, but maybe. So Sarah, you can do it in the room if you don't want to use the sofa. If you're doing shoulder stand in the room, what I'm going to suggest is you go in and out of it 3 times. But before anyone does anything, we're going to do a bit more massaging of our neck lying down. So settle yourself down. If you're using a wall or a sofa or a bookshelf like me, you're going to make sure you organize yourself so that your feet are on the sofa or the bed or the wall. And then just settle down before you go anywhere. You're right there, Donna. Yeah, bet you do that. You swallow that before you try and go and shoulder stand. So yeah, just settle down, lie down wherever you're going to practice. And then we're just going to do a bit of rolling of the head. Okay, so settle down onto your back and just let your head roll a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. Sarah, I think if you're going to use the sofa, you probably need to have your mat the other way round and be slightly further from the sofa, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because otherwise, I don't know. Yeah, I think. Yeah, you could have just been the purple one, but yeah, both of them are good. Okay, that's it. So a little bit of easing your head to the right and to the left. And then also a little bit of then settling your head in the center. And then just bringing your fingers around the back of your neck and just, you know, there's sort of massaging the neck and the shoulders, but also noticing how they feel. And that just helps us to get in touch with that part of ourselves. So if we are feeling tight there, we're not going to push it in our shoulder stand. It's really important. I was doing this yesterday and actually it felt really good, but the third one I was getting more upright and then I suddenly started to feel headachy and I thought, okay, no, that's not a good sign. I should come back down. So something else to pay attention to. Okay, so when you've just given your neck and shoulders a little bit of a sort of feel, a little bit of a massage, then settle your arms down on the ground beside you. And so if you just want to lie with your legs up the wall, that's absolutely fine. If you want to do a bit of rolling up through your spine, you can bend your knees, stand your feet on the wall, and just start to see how does it feel. You're right ahead of you, you've got sort of one foot to that. But yes, if you need to be fairly near to the wall or the sofa. That's it. So Sarah, if you're using the sofa, you've just got your feet on the sofa or possibly on the edge of the sofa and you're pressing down. So it's more like bridge pose at this point. Yes, and if you're at all coffee, it can sometimes make it worse. Good. So if you're using the wall or a sofa, just a bit of rolling up and down. How does this feel with your shoulder, Sarah?
Yeah, it's okay actually. Making me relax. I was just thinking maybe if I went straight to the shoulder, it would be a bad idea. I've not done it.
Yeah, it's probably good to feel your way here, and it might be something that doesn't aggravate the shoulder at all. But yeah, I think you're right to just to see how it is. So if you are going into shoulder stands, I think, like I said at the beginning, what I would suggest is you go in, you come out, you do that 3 times. Unless you go into shoulder stand, it's completely amazing. But that's it, Donna. You can stretch your heels to the ceiling, so you're standing on the ceiling. But if we think about in shoulder standing, the muscles of the shoulder and the neck really need some time to release. And I probably always say this, but if we think about dog pose, we never just do one dog pose and think, okay, that's it. We probably not feel very, we probably wouldn't like dog pose very much. So if you go, do a shoulder stand, come down, just have a couple of quiet breaths, maybe roll your head from side to side. And then you can see how does it feel to go back into your shoulder stand. Or if you don't want to do shoulder stand, just a bit of rolling up and down with your feet on the wall is absolutely fine. Good. And things to notice when you're in shoulder stand is, again, how does the back of the neck feel? Those muscles are going to feel stretched out, but you just want to make sure they don't feel too stretched. How do the shoulders feel? I think also, how do the eyes feel, and how do you feel in terms, if you feel a little headachy, that's a very good sign that you should come down. yeah, I mean, Sarah, it's probably good, definitely good to err on the side of caution with it. And yeah, it's nice. It looks very nice. And it just, yeah, and you can get your shoulders to sort of say, okay, how does this feel? Yeah, so if you are going to do a third shoulder stand, some of you, if you like, this would be the time to do it. Clock just keeps sticking. Yeah, the time to the shoulder stand, and then just if we, that's very nice, Sarah. If you're doing a stand, it's quite nice to do the variation where you take one knee towards your forehead and you reach the other heel towards the ceiling. So that might feel quite nice. Oh, lovely, Sarah. And if you've come down from all your shoulder stands, just lie quietly for a few breaths. You could let your head roll from side to side. And then in a moment, we'll lengthen the mats out so we can do a floor twist. I was thinking it might be quite good to spread out a little bit. If I moved Otto, Hilary, you could sort of come over, you could come over this way, then everyone might have a little bit more space. And Donna, then if you came over and so on, and then Tracy will get a bit more space for her floor twist. It's very handy, this dog bed. It has a handle on it, so I can just slide him around like he's more of a mammoth. So you're probably fine with your mat like that, Sarah, to do a floor twist. And I can stick Otto back here. Yes. Stay on your bed. 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 So that's once you've lengthened your mats out again, you just settle down, let your knees tilt a little bit to the right and to the left. So Sarah, we might do that floor twist where you fold your knees into your chest and they come down on either side. So I don't know whether you'll have more space if your knees were up, if you were the other way round on your mat. It depends whether you want to do that one. And Tracy, I don't know whether you'll do that one or not. No, okay, so I'll give you a different one. So yes, if you've got your knee, if you're lying on your mat with your knees bent, your feet standing on the floor, I'm going to suggest two possibilities of floor twist. So one floor twist is from your knees being bent, your feet standing on the floor. And Tracy, you could do this one, is to take your feet wider apart then. So your feet are as wide as the narrow edge of your mat. And then you keep tilting the knees in this position. That's it. And it might be that you can then take your knees all the way down to the floor on each side. So that's one possibility. The other floor twist you could do, let's not start a load of coughing. The other floor twist you could do would be to pause in the center and fold both knees into your chest. And then lengthen your legs up to the ceiling and wrap one arm around the back of your legs. So just bend your knees a bit, that's it. And then fold your heels into your bottom. Good. So one arm's on the floor, one arm's around the back of the legs. Actually, Donna, swap hands, just because otherwise you and Hilary are going to meet in the middle. That's it. So you're taking your legs down to the floor on not the side where your arm is resting on the ground. You're using your arm to support your legs as they go down to the floor. Tracy, is that okay there for your back? And you could also do the ones. The other one that might be nice for your back is to then bring your feet, have one foot in the center and cross the other leg over the top, completely over the top. Yeah, just see how that feels. How's that? Yeah, that might be nice. Okay, so Sarah, how are you there? Oh, doing that floor twist. Yeah. Yeah, do that one. You're taking your knees, and you could also do that if you wanted. You could probably rock and stay. That's it. Good. You just give the weight of your legs to the floor. Yeah, and then Tracy, what you can do with that one is swap your legs over so you have the other leg on top and a bit of rocking there, and then good. So if you've done the floor twist where you took your legs over to one side, you eventually want to come back to the center and do the same thing on the other side. And so again, I have this thing where I like to take my legs up to the ceiling before I do the floor twist. You don't have to. And then sort of take my arm around the back of my legs so my legs are quite straight. I think it just, yeah, but not too straight. That's it. So your knees, yeah, that's it. Just, I think it helps bring the knees really close to the chest. And moving on into your second side of the floor twist. So you've got your arm. So Tracy, what you could then do from there is come back to feet just being, yeah, whatever distance apart you like, and a bit of tilting the knees. I mean, I hope these ones are helpful just for sort of releasing around the pelvis, doing these small movements. The other thing you could do would be a bit of tilting your pelvis, you know, the sort of towards your face. Yeah, that little movement might be quite good. And possibly, yeah, actually, is that nice? That looks really nice. Yes, so if you're doing side 2 of your floor twist, then having a few breaths there. Yeah, Sheila, if you want to do some tilting of your pelvis, you can by all means do that. And it might also be from there, Tracy, that you want to fold your knees into your chest and just do a little bit of rocking, you know, just a little bit of gentle rocking from side to side. Yeah, you too, Sarah. Okay, so I'm getting very confused here because my main clock keeps sticking, and then it's much further on time-wise than I think it is. So wherever you are, if you're still in your floor twist, you might want to make your way back to the center. Might be nice for everyone to fold their knees into their chest and possibly take your legs up to the ceiling, give them a shake out. And we'll finish them with a little, just, you know, a couple of minutes of lying down quietly. We can have blankets if anyone likes. Sarah, do you need a blanket there? Anyone else need? Hillary, do you need a blanket? Okay. Try and get it over your feet. That's it. So just settle down onto your backs. Make sure you're going to be warm. I'm just going to settle down for another minute or so, just lying quietly, letting the body settle and rest. So it could be helpful just to bring your attention to your breathing. So gather your focus into your breath, maybe just for 2 or 3 cycles of breath to have that sort of very focused awareness of letting your attention rest with wherever you feel the movement of your breath in your body. And then from there, perhaps letting your awareness expand outwards to have a sense of the whole length of yourself on the ground. So from the back of your head in contact with the ground, all the way down to the feeling of your heels in contact with the ground beneath you. Be aware they're going to be different thoughts and images, mental images, memories, all of this stuff flowing through your mind. And then there's going to be all the sounds, everything that's around and outside of your body, the feeling of the air, the sound, the light. And just be aware of those too. So in a moment, I'm going to ring the singing bowl 3 times. So just it might be that you want to gather your attention back into your breathing, just this last little period. So thank you, everyone. There's no rush. We can carry on. Yes, thank you, Sheila.
Okay, I'm going to have to go. I have to shoot off.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you Monday.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, see you Monday. Take care. Bye.